items. These are items that predominantly appeal to women and men alike to purchase beauty products, even though men are interested in cosmetics. Nigeria has emerged as the investment destinations of choice to international firms aiming to capture the beauty and personal care market in the continent. The photography business is a very competitive industry. Every year, thousands of talented photo lovers consider turning their passion into a money-making business venture. Especially in a fiercely competitive marketplace like Nigeria, in which it is very easy for anyone to buy a digital camera and call themselves a professional photographer. According to some practitioners, a new photographer who wants a standard studio can start with a budget of 3.5 million naira. However, one can start with a lower budget of about 500,000 to 1 million naira depending on the tools and cost of rent. On the average, the cost of photography equipment is around 294,790 naira. However, the price ranges from around 41,000 naira to as high as 2.46 million naira. Nigeria has a population of over 200 million people with a vibrant movie industry that produces 50 movies per week, generating annual revenue of approximately $590 million from between 2016 and 2021, helping the photography industry as a whole, according to a recent research by the UN.
You go enter market, just make you go buy fresh palm fruits. When you reach house, you go wash, you go pound, your body go dey pain you, even your fingernails go dey pain you. But make una no worry, make una relax. I get good news for now. Una don hear of Banga fresh palm fruit extract. All you need to do now make you go for the open am. Take the amount wey you want, put am for your pot. Which soup you wan make? Shey na egusi, shey na ogbono, shey na vegetable, shey na banga. My sister no waste time again. My brother no waste time again. Just go buy Banga fresh palm fruit extract. They go know say you sabi cook and you be better cook.
Banga, come make your food yummy yum.
Distributors needed nationwide. Phone number 081 63974447. 080356444307066638213. Banga fresh palm fruit extract.
Mama, you're coming to Lagos. Banga. Baby, Mama just called me now. She's coming to see you. She asked me to tell you to make banga soup for her. And she's close to the house. Oh.
How do you expect me to prepare banga in just few minutes?
I have a solution for you.
Really?
If you sabi cook the banga, you're not going to enter my family.
Pali banga is used in making other exotic dishes such as banga jollof rice, banga efo riro, banga asaro or yam porridge, banga egusi, and many more. Pali banga is easy to open, no preservatives, no cholesterol, and no coloring. Approved by NAFDAC. Manufactured by Pali Agro Products Limited. Available in all leading stores and supermarkets nationwide.
Pali banga, natural palm fruit extracts for tasty African cuisine.
Powerful looks command respect, they say. The perfect body.
Hello, welcome. This is Business Now, reaching you live from IBrandTV News Studios here in Lagos, Nigeria. Coming up, Nigeria pays $300 million diaspora debt amid worsening revenue. Now the House of Representatives begin process of pulling out the National Assembly from the contributory pension scheme under the administration of the National Pension Commission. Oil marketers deny federal government 74 billion naira payment bridging claims one of massive fuel queues in the coming days. And finally, Google to pay $90 million to settle legal fight with app developers over the money they earned creating apps for Android smartphones. Thanks for joining us, and here are some of the stories we're filing at this time. I am Frank Komalape. Now, Nigeria has redeemed a $300 million diaspora bond, which matured on June 27, 2022, according to the Debt Management Office. In a statement published on its website, the DMO said that the bond was issued on June 27, 2022 for a tenure of 5 years in the international capital market. It added that the proceeds from the bond were partly used to finance the deficit in the 2017 Appropriation Act. The DMO assured bond investors of Nigeria's commitment to honoring its debt obligation, urging the Nigerian diaspora to invest more in the country. The assessment read, in part, quote, Nigeria has again demonstrated its commitment to honoring its debt obligations as at when due by the redemption of the $300 million diaspora bond, which matured June 27, 2022. The diaspora bond was issued on June 27, 2017 for a tenure of 5 years in the international capital market, and the proceeds were used to partly finance the deficit in the 2017 Appropriation Act. Away from there now, the House of Representatives has begun the process of pulling out the National Assembly from the contributory pension scheme under the administration of the National Pension Commission. The House is to create a separate body to administer matters relating to pensions for workers in the Federal Parliament. At the plenary on Thursday, the House considered and adopted the report of its Committee on National Planning and Economic Development on the legislation titled A Bill for an Act to amend the Pension Reform Act 2014 to exempt the National Assembly service from the contributory pension scheme and establish the National Assembly Service Pension Board. The chairman of the committee, Olododo Cook, said the proposal was to exempt the personnel of the National Assembly from the contributory pension scheme and to establish a National Assembly Service Pension Board to be charged with the responsibility of administering the pension scheme for personnel of the service. Cook stated this bill is in consequence of the exit of the service from the application of the contributory pension scheme under the Pensions Reform Act 2014. The bill seeks to amend Section 5, subsection 1A of the Act by inserting the words, the National Assembly Service. In the meantime, the House of Representatives on Thursday urged the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to establish and equip more depots across the country and strictly regulate the operations of private depot owners as part of efforts to end fuel scarcity in the country. This followed the adoption of a motion on the need to establish more petrol depots in Nigeria moved by Honorable Uju Kingsley. While presenting the motion, Honorable Kingsley noted that there were insufficient depots to store petroleum products in Nigeria and that an estimated 100 million liters of bad petrol imported in Nigeria have caused fuel scarcity in Nigeria, with the consequent effects of adulteration of the product by roadside black market vendors. He raised concern that the proliferation of adulterated petrol had caused severe damage to vehicle engines and inflicted more pains on the people. He added that despite efforts to address the fuel scarcity, long queues and shortage of the product still persist at filling stations across the country. Head of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, OPEC, on Thursday agreed to proceed with about 648,000 barrels per day increase in its crude production quota for August, in line with what ministers agreed at a meeting earlier this month. Under the agreed quota, Nigeria will pump 1.82 million barrels per day, the same quota it got for July. The hike will return the group's output target to pre-pandemic levels and conclude the now more than 2-year process of returning to the market, in theory, all of the near 10 million barrels per day that OPEC and its non-OPEC partners removed in May 2022 in response to the COVID-induced collapse in world demand. The decision to stick to the script and sanction the 648,000 barrels per day increase came at a time of accelerating inflation rate, higher oil prices, and a recovery in global oil consumption that is contributing to a tightening of supply-demand balances. An OPEC Plus technical committee last week said it foresees a supply surplus of 1 million barrels per day this year, around 400,000 barrels down on the forecast it gave just 4 months earlier. The production restraint agreement formally remains in force until the end of the year. But this production target returning to pre-pandemic baseline levels in August, the group will no longer have a roadmap to follow should the market requires further supply in the coming months. Oil marketers on Thursday warned that Nigeria will witness the mother of all queues from next week if the federal government fails to pay the 12-month bridging claims being owed operators in the downstream sector. Dealers under the aegis of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, which controls about 70% of filling stations across the country, also denied being paid 74 billion naira by the federal government as bridging claims for the transportation of petroleum products. On Wednesday, the federal government, through its Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, said it pays 74 billion naira as bridging claims to oil marketers for the transportation of petroleum products across the country in 7 months. It disclosed these while reacting to allegations made by IPMAN, Suleja branch, that the scarcity of petroleum products in Nigeria was due to the non-payment of bridging claims. Meanwhile, the National President, Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association, Bennett Correa, explained that marketers were paid bridging claims because of the long distances which their trucks transport product across, but noted that current high cost of diesel had made things tough. And now the Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund, which is managed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, has guaranteed loans for farmers across the country. The monetary value of the loans was estimated at 130.90 billion naira. The Apex Bank also challenged farmers to join hands in revitalizing the country's $430 billion economy by enhancing value addition and diversification. These were the highlight of the National Award ceremony for the 2021 Best Farmer of the Year Award under the Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund held on Thursday in Abuja. According to the chairman, Scheme Fund, Stephen Okon, a total of 1.23 million loans valued at 130.9 billion naira were guaranteed from inception to May 2022, out of which 973,646 beneficiaries had repaid a total of 98.9 billion naira. He noted that the Federal Capital Territory had, from January to May 2022, guaranteed a total of 82 loans under the scheme valued at 22.58 million naira. This, according to him, brought the total guaranteed loans in the FCT from inception of the scheme in 1978 to May 2022 to 14,258, valued at 1.74 billion naira. Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund was established by Decree number 20 of 1977 and started operations in April 1978. In the meantime, the federal government has put up the Onitsha River Port in Anambra State on concession for 4 billion naira under a public-private partnership arrangement as it targets to earn 23 billion naira from the deal in 30 years. On Thursday, concessionaire Universal Elysium Consortium was announced as the preferred bidder for the port after an open bid process. The concession process was midwifed by the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission as the concession agreement was signed at the headquarters of the Federal Ministry of Transportation in Abuja. In her address at the signing ceremony, the Minister of State for Transportation, Gbemisola Saraki, said the Onitsha River Port concession would be the catalyst for the rest of the river port to be put on concession. Other river ports being considered for concession include Baro, Lokoja, and Oguta, according to the minister. The federal government, through the Minister of State and Investment and the Central Bank of Nigeria, have called on the European Union to seek ways of directing grants and subsidies to the nation's rail sector to promote inclusive economic growth. This was even as they called on investors and manufacturers to apply for the backward integration program currently in the process of being automated. Speaking at the 8th edition of the European Union Nigeria Business Forum in Lagos on Thursday, the Governor CBN, Godwin Emefiele, said the government had in 2002 adopted and implemented selected backward integration and regulation policies to chart a common course in fostering economic growth, while noting that the cement industry was the first in adopting the backward integration policy. Emefiele, who was represented by the Director Trade and Exchange Department at CBN, Ozuemera Naji, said that domestic production of cement few years ago was at 20%, but noted that the narrative has changed as Nigeria not only produces but exports cement to other countries. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited on Thursday said it has sold over $1 billion worth of natural gas to Portugal this year. It disclosed this during the Nigeria-Portugal Business and Trade Forum, which held on the sidelines of the state visit to Portugal by Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari. Speaking at the forum, the Chief Executive Officer NNPC, Mele Kyari, said that Nigeria had been supplying energy to Portugal for decades. On the sidelines of the event, President Muhammadu Buhari is leading a high-level Nigerian business delegation to the Nigeria-Portugal Business and Trade Forum. The National Oil Firm said President Muhammadu Buhari is on a state visit to Portugal for the second United Nations Ocean Conference. On the President's delegation is the CEO, NNPC Limited, Malam Mele Kyari, who highlighted the age-long energy partnership between the two countries, stressing that Nigeria supplies 70% of energy import to the European nation. And now Shell Group says it has suspended the divestment of its interest in Nigeria's subsidiary Shell Petroleum Development Company to the AIOC in a statement signed by its managing director of SPDC and chairman Osange Okumbo on Thursday said the sale of the asset had been put on hold pending the outcome of its appeal at the Supreme Court. The Shell Group has confirmed separately that it will not progress the divestment of its interest in Shell Petroleum Development Company until the outcome of the appeal. The Court of Appeal and Federal High Court of Warri had awarded $1.95 billion compensation to 80 communities in Rivers State for a 2019 oil spill they blamed on Shell and which damaged their farms and waterways. The case was declared in favor of the communities found Shell guilty of polluting farmlands as well as rivers and other surroundings in the Ijalawa community in Okenogosun, Egbalo, Ebubu, Eleme local government area of Rivers State. The community had sought and was guaranteed a court order blocking Shell from disposing of its asset. The company was also ordered to put the $1.95 billion into an account nominated by the court until the legal dispute was settled. Although Shell appealed both rulings and await a hearing. You're watching Business Now, coming to you live from our studios here. Still to come, Bloody Thursday as 7 killed in anti-coup demonstrations in Sudan. We'll bring you details in a moment. If you're just joining us, you're watching Business Now, coming to you live from our studios here in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. On the African scene now, the Ghana Association of Banks has assured that despite the end of the period given for customers of financial institutions to update the data with the Ghana card, they will be able to still carry out banking transactions even without the card. The directive regarding the update of the data of customers of financial institutions was issued by the Bank of Ghana on January 19, 2022. According to the directive, all licensed and regulated financial institutions under the central bank are to accept only the Ghana card for transactions from July 1, 2022. Per the notice from the central bank, the move is in furtherance of the central bank's objective of ensuring the safety of the financial ecosystem. Institutions that are required to accept only the Ghana card for financial transactions include banks, specialized deposit-taking institutions, non-deposit-taking financial institutions, payment service providers, and dedicated electronic money issuers, forex bureaus, and credit reference bureaus. While multiple stakeholders in Ghana's banking industry welcome the move by the Bank of Ghana, saying it will check fraud and sanitize the country's financial system, others were somewhat skeptical and concerned about the fate of their hard-earned funds, especially as some were struggling to procure the Ghana card. And now Kenya will get the new tranche of 28 billion shillings from the International Monetary Fund in the new financial year, a delay that could complicate the funding of the budget in an election year. Treasury Principal Secretary Julius Miwa said the money, which is a third tranche under the IMF program, is expected in the new financial year that starts Friday, with the IMF giving indications the money may be wired by mid-July. IMF reached a staff-level agreement with Kenyan officials on April 25, pending a board approval for the release of the funds. Kenya is not listed in the current IMF board calendar that runs through July 8, with the Treasury admitting the delays will push back this reception of funds. Kenya planned to finance the 944.7 billion shillings budget gap by raising about 664 billion shillings domestically and 280.7 billion shillings abroad, but has struggled in securing dollar loans, including a failed bid to tap the Eurobond. The IMF said Kenya is on track to meet its fiscal objective under the program and strong tax performance this year in supporting resilience in the face of global shocks. And our listed firms are facing higher finance costs as a result of the weakening of the shilling against the dollar, exposing the risk carried by foreign currency loans to local firms. Companies such as Kenya Power, Kenya Centrum, Safaricom, and most large banks carry significant exposure to currency rate risk owing to significant dollar borrowings from the external lenders and development finance institutions to finance capital expenditure, and in the case of banks, for own lending to customers. These loans are repaid and serviced through dollars bought from the local market, which is subject to exchange rate fluctuations. This year, the shilling has depreciated against the U.S. currency by 3.9%, exchanging at an average of 117.8 units yesterday from 113.14 at the beginning of the year. A company servicing a facility of $10 million at an interest rate of 5% would therefore see its cost of buying dollars locally to pay interest rise from around 56.6 million shillings to 558.9 million shillings, presuming the shilling doesn't weaken further. And on the international scene, energy prices might still be going strong, but due to concerns about the recession, long positions in the markets suffered double-digit losses in June. This put an end to the spectacular month-over-month rises in oil prices, at least temporarily, with the U.S. Standard, the West Texas Intermediate, closing with a 5% rise and the global benchmark Brent up roughly 1%, while crude prices were still expected to close the second quarter up. However, they were significantly down for the month of June, with Brent down more than 11% and WTI, West Texas Intermediate, down around 8%. And now Alphabet Incorporation's Google has agreed to pay $90 million to settle a legal fight with app developers over the money they earned creating apps for Android smartphones and for enticing users to make an in-app purchases, according to a court filing. The app developers in a lawsuit filed in federal court in San Francisco had accused Google of using agreement with smartphone makers, technical barriers, and revenue sharing agreement to effectively close the app ecosystem and shunt most payment through its Google Play billing system with a default service fee of 30%. As part of the proposed settlement, Google said in a blog post it will put $90 million in a fund to support app developers who made $2 million or less in annual revenue from 2016 to 2021. And the vast majority of U.S. developers who earn revenue through Google Play will be eligible to receive money from this fund if they choose, Google said in the blog post. Google said it will also charge developers a 15% commission on their first million in revenue from the Google Play Store each year. It started doing this in 2021. There were likely 48,000 app developers eligible to apply for the $90 million fund, and the minimum payout is around $250 according to Hanseng. Shapiro LLP, who represented the plaintiffs. In Washington, Congress is considering legislation that will require Google and Apple to allow side loading, or the practice of downloading apps without using an app store. Google said it's already allowing side loading. It will also bar them from requiring that app providers use Google and Apple's payment systems. And now stocks fell and the dollar rose on Friday, beginning the second half of the year, much as the first one had ended. Only this time with bonds rallying for a change as investors have shifted from worrying about inflation to fearing a global recession. S&P 500 futures fell 1%, while MSCI's index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan fell 1%, with the heaviest fall in Taiwan, where the growth-sensitive benchmark index slid 3% to its lowest since late 2020. Japan's Nikkei fell 2%. The Australian and New Zealand dollars each fell 1% to two-year lows. US Treasuries rose, driving benchmark 10-year yields to one-month lows. Demand tracking commodities such as oil and copper were under pressure, leaving Brent crude futures at a one-week low of $108.87 a barrel. The S&P 500 closed out its worst first since 1970 on Thursday, and the Treasury market took such a beating that Deutsche Bank estimated the half's performance was the poorest in more than 2 centuries. You're still watching Business Now. We have more news coming your way after this timeout with Michael Nath.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services, that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's true unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
True unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. True unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming true unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your true unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix true unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. True unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, begiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your true unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder Bus Stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors are needed nationwide.
The cosmetics and personal care industry globally generates an estimated annual turnover of around $400 billion over the last 20 years. In Nigeria, the beauty and personal care market could reach 3.2 billion euros by 2021, making Nigeria the rising star in sub-Saharan Africa. Products for hair and body care are predominant on the beauty market in sub-Saharan Africa, where face products and makeup remain marginal but have strong potential. Africa's largest economy clearly has a lot to offer. The Nigerian beauty and personal care market is currently worth more than $1.25 billion at retail and is forecast to reach more than $1.31 billion next year, according to Euromonitor International. It includes a wide range of products from skincare items to makeup and beauty items. These are items that predominantly appeal to women and men alike to purchase beauty products, even though men are interested in cosmetics. Nigeria has emerged as the investment destinations of choice to international firms aiming to capture the beauty and personal care market in the continent. The photography business is a very competitive industry. Every year, thousands of talented photo lovers consider turning their passion into a money-making business venture. Especially in a fiercely competitive marketplace like Nigeria, in which it is very easy for anyone to buy a digital camera and call themselves a professional photographer. According to some practitioners, a new photographer who wants a standard studio can start with a budget of 3.5 million naira. However, one can start with a lower budget of about 500,000 to 1 million naira depending on the tools and cost of rent. On the average, the cost of photography equipment is around 294,790 naira. However, the price ranges from around 41,000 naira to as high as 2.46 million naira. Nigeria has a population of over 200 million people with a vibrant movie industry that produces 50 movies per week, generating annual revenue of approximately $590 million from between 2016 and 2021 helping the photography industry as a whole, according to a recent research by the UN.
Most people don't understand the magic of the perfect skin, the allure of the well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Hello, this is News Now. I'm Michael Nath. President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday reiterated his administration's resolve never to interfere with elections conducted in any part of the country by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Speaking in Lisbon, Portugal, at a meeting with representatives of Nigerians living in that country, Buhari cited the recent governorship elections in Anambra and Ekiti states, insisting his government has proven consistently its zero tolerance for interference with elections. He said Nigerians should be allowed to vote for the parties and candidates of their choice. Buhari also gave assurances of a free hand to INEC, reiterating the commitment of his administrations to peaceful, transparent, free, fair and credible elections next year. He further stressed that with the conclusion of the primaries of the political parties, all eyes were now on the 2023 general election. The president used the occasion to caution against the use of social media to insult and incite crisis, and urged the diaspora to always promote Nigerians' unity. Buhari expressed delight in the successful involvement of the diaspora in various fields such as agriculture, healthcare, education, ICT, and the food industry in Nigeria. He said many countries, including Nigeria, had shown that their diaspora could be a veritable engine for growing and development. Buhari assured the meeting coordinated by the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa, that the federal government would continue to do everything possible to catalyze development in various fields of the economy. He therefore encouraged them to key into the programs of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission so as to contribute to initiatives such as the Nigerian Diaspora Investment Trust Fund. Earlier, the Nigerian ambassador to Portugal, Alex Enan-Kefas, told Buhari that records indicated that there were some 3,000 Nigerians living in the country who were generally well-behaved and living peacefully among themselves and the host authorities. Nigeria and the United Kingdom on Thursday signed an agreement that would see the UK increase the deportation of those considered dangerous criminals as part of the British new immigration plan. A British Home Secretary, Priti Patel, said the landmark agreement would help take the fight to the criminal people smugglers to tackle illegal immigration. The deal was reached on the same day that 13 Nigerians were deported from the UK for different violations. 8 of the deported people were convicted criminals, while the remaining 5 had entered the UK illegally. The Daily Mail reported that 8 Ghanaians were also deported the same day. According to Patel, the agreement would benefit both countries. The British government has sought to crack down on illegal immigration. Last month, Parliament passed controversial reforms which introduce maximum life sentences for people smugglers. The Nationality and Borders Act also imposes tougher jail terms for anyone arriving illegally in the country, which has raised fears that it could be used against asylum seekers and refugees. In April, Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced that Britain would send migrants and asylum seekers who crossed the channel thousands of miles away to Rwanda under the controversial deal as the government tries to clamp down on record numbers of people making the perilous journey. The Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, has lamented the high number of permanent voter cards yet to be collected in the state, stating that this may create an opportunity for incompetent persons to be elected as leaders and representatives in the state. The Speaker said this on Thursday during the 8th annual constituency stakeholders meeting held simultaneously by lawmakers across the state. Obasa, in his address to stakeholders in his Agege Constituency 1, noted that the theme of the meeting, 2023 general elections, the imperatives of permanent voter cards, was apt as residents need to register and vote. The head of electoral operations at INEC, Felix Daramola, also decried the low PVC registration in the state, which he described as unacceptable. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has extended the ongoing continuous voter registration indefinitely. The exercise was initially scheduled to end on June the 30th, but the Federal High Court in Abuja granted an order of interim injunction stopping INEC from ending voter registration on June the 30th, 2022. INEC National Electoral Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, made the announcement in a statement on Thursday in Abuja. According to him, all resident electoral commissioners and electoral officers have been directed to continue with the exercise pending further directives from the Commission. Okoye said the Commission had consistently reiterated its resolve to continue to provide electoral services to Nigerians by registering all eligible people. In the meantime, INEC in Kano State has said that 40% of registered voters in the state engaged in double registration. The resident electoral commissioner, Riskuwa Shehu, disclosed this while briefing journalists on the ongoing voter registration exercise in Kano on Thursday. The Independent National Electoral Commission yesterday insisted on the July 15 deadline it set for the submission of the lists of governorship and House of Assembly candidates by political parties. The deadline was set in line with the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 elections by the electoral umpire. It cautioned political parties that conducted valid governorship and House of Assembly primaries to adhere strictly to the timetable, as the nomination portal will shut down at 6 p.m. on July the 15th. In a statement signed by INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, the Commission urged the parties to scrutinize the personal particulars of the candidates before submission. The families of kidnapped victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train have vowed to embark on a street protests and occupy key government facilities in Abuja and Kaduna to drive home their demand for the rescue of their loved ones. The attack on the Abuja-Kaduna AK-9 train, which led to the killing of 9 and deduction of 63 passengers, will clock 100 days on Tuesday. The kidnapped passengers, family members, told journalists in Kaduna on Thursday that they were worried and scared of losing their families in the terrorists' captivity, especially with reports of snake bites and gunshot injuries the captives were said to have suffered. The spokesman of the families, Abdul Laziz Atta, whose aged mother and sister are in the terrorist captivity, said members of the victims' families would be staging a sit-down and occupy protests at public facilities until their loved ones are rescued. Atta maintained that by next Tuesday, which is going to be 100 days that they have been held captive, they are planning to stage a physical protest. The defense headquarters on Thursday disclosed that 4,770 Boko Haram terrorists surrendered to troops between June 1 and 15, 2022. Those who surrendered, according to the military high command, include 2,490 children, 1,415 women, and 814 men. Addressing journalists at the defense headquarters in Abuja on Thursday on the activities of the military between June the 16th and the 30th, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Bernard Onyuku, said all the surrendered terrorists have been profiled. He said members of Boko Haram terrorists have continued to surrender to own troops at different locations in the theater. Between June 1 and 15, 2022, a total of 4,770 of them, comprising 864 adult males, 1,415 women, and 2,490 children surrendered. Onyuko also said 82 terrorists in Zamfara were neutralized, while others sustained various degrees of injury. According to him, troops were hinted about an impending attack on Kofadanya village by terrorists numbering 150. He said the Nigeria Air Force carried out air interdiction on their enclave, leading to their death. A community leader from the Brahmi-Gwari Emirates Council in the Brahmi-Gwari local government area of Kaduna State, Alhaji Zubairu Abdullahi has lamented how members of the communities paid 400 million naira to bandits to enable them to go to their farms. This is just as he said the people of the emirate had resorted to defending themselves against terrorists that had over the years taken over the area. He told journalists in Kaduna on Thursday that a constant attacks on communities had paralyzed economic activities in their rural areas and made traveling in the area impossible. On payment to bandits, Abdul Rauf on the state-owned radio, the Kaduna State Media Corporation, confirmed that 200 million naira was paid to the bandits in Randegi district alone. The Nigeria Labour Congress on Thursday said it would hold a one-day national protest to force the federal government to meet the demands of university-based unions. The Congress noted that the reports from a meeting of its Central Working Committee showed a lack of progress in the negotiation with the leadership of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities, and the National Association of Academic Technologists. The president of the NLC, Ayuba Waba, spoke in Abuja during the opening of the National Executive Council meeting of the Congress. Waba directed all the affiliate unions of the NLC to issue directives on the planned one-day national protest next week. He, however, did not disclose when the national protest would be held. Waba also lamented the present fuel crisis in the country, while adding that the Congress is studying the sack of teachers by the Kaduna State government. Meanwhile, the Committee of Vice Chancellors of Nigerian Universities has urged the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, on Thursday to expedite the process of resolving ongoing disputes between the government and the unions. Kinsman of a former Deputy Senate President, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, had demanded that due process be followed in his ongoing trial over alleged organ harvesting in the United Kingdom. The news agency of Nigeria reported that the group, under the auspices of Ikoha Mpu, a Peacemakers League, made the call in a statement on Thursday in Enugu by its coordinating chairman, Chioke Ezekwe. Ezekwe also called on the federal government, African sub-regional institutions, and the Igbo community to ensure justice in the matter. Ekweremadu and his wife, Beatrice, were arrested last week by the Metropolitan Police in London for alleged conspiracy to harvest the organs of a minor, Mwamini David. Though David claimed to be 15 years old, the Nigeria Immigration Service clarified that the documents presented for his passport application indicated that he was 21. Meanwhile, Ekweremadu on Thursday again appeared before the Uxbridge Magistrate Court in UK. The senator introduced himself and also confirmed his date of birth. The couple was initially billed to appear in court on July the 7th, but the case was brought forward to Thursday, that was yesterday, before it was again adjourned till July the 7th to enable the UK Attorney General, Suella Braverman, to determine whether the case would be tried in the country or Nigeria. Hundreds of students of the Peace Land College of Education, Enugu, escaped death by rescuers on Thursday when fire gutted some parts of the school's female hostel. The institution is located opposite the Matured Students Program of the Enugu State University of Science and Technology near the popular Mbokete Junction at Independence Layout, Enugu. Many students were said to have sustained injuries when students were scampering to different directions as confusion engulfed the premises. However, there are conflicting accounts as to what triggered the fire. While some said it was caused by power outage, some said a student left an electrical appliance on and went to class. Though no life was lost in the inferno, it was gathered from some staff of the college that a fire destroyed the roofs, ceilings, windows, bedding, among others, but the top floor worth over 30 million naira. The fire, it was gathered, also destroyed some certificates and other credentials of the students. Some lecturers who spoke to correspondents on condition of anonymity said save for timely intervention of men of the Enugu State Fire Service, the fire would have razed down the entire hostel and other classroom blocks. One of the lecturers said that the fire started on the top floor of one of the major hostel blocks, destroyed ND certificates and other credentials of the students. The Rivers State Commissioner of Police, Friday Ebuka, has ordered a mass deployment of policemen to the Oyibo local government area of the state in order to fish out criminal elements who ambushed and killed a policeman. Also, the command said its personnel had been directed to identify and clamp down on perpetrators of violent crimes against the people of Oyibo. The CP gave the order in a statement signed by the spokesman for the State Police Command, Grace Iringe Koko, in Port Harcourt on Thursday. He strictly warned that further attacks on police officers tasked with the protection of lives and property would not be tolerated by the police authority. A coalition of over 70 civil society organizations, the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room, yesterday expressed concern that the current leadership of the Central Bank of Nigeria can no longer guarantee the safety of sensitive electoral materials. Convener NLB made the observation in Abuja during the Situation Room Independent National Electoral Commission dialogue on the Osun State governorship election. She wondered why sensitive materials would be placed under the watch of the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, who she said is a card-carrying member of the All Progressives Congress, APC. National Electoral Commissioner, Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, said the CVR would continue nationwide and that all resident electoral commissioners and electoral officers have been directed to continue with the exercise pending further directives from the Commission. Given reasons for the extension, Okoye said INEC has consistently reiterated its resolve to continue to provide electoral services to Nigerians by registering all eligible and interested citizens. It disclosed also a case at the Federal High Court in Abuja relating to the terminal date of the CVR. Meanwhile, a bill seeking the establishment of a National Electoral Offences Tribunal made inroads yesterday on the floor of the House of Representatives. Now to Africa's scene. Thursday was a bloody day of protests in Sudan. According to the Sudan's Doctors Committee, a medical group, security forces killed 7 people during anti-coup demonstrations. The group said in its tweet that 4 people were fatally shot in Omdurman, the capital's twin city. The Doctors Committee, which tracks casualties during protests, said a 5th person died after being shot in the head in Khartoum, as well as a child who was shot in the chest. Thousands marched against the country's military rulers on the 3rd anniversary of mass rally that forced the generals to sit down at the negotiating table with pro-democracy groups and eventually sign a power-sharing agreement that was expected to govern Sudan during a transitional period until general elections were to be held. Despite internet disruptions, videos on social media show protesters waving Sudanese flags and running under clouds of tear gas. In other clips, demonstrators raised banners reading "No negotiations, no partnership," reiterating their opposition to any power-sharing deal with the military rulers following their October coup. In Khartoum, police fired tear gas as thousands of demonstrators trying to reach the Republican Palace, the military seat of power in the heart of the city. Our Libyan officials from the country's rival camps failed to reach an agreement on a constitutional framework for national elections in the latest UN-led efforts to bridge the gaps between the factions. After 2 days of UN-mediated talks in Geneva, a disagreement persists among the 2 senior Libyan officials from the country's rival camps on the eligibility requirements for the candidates in the first presidential elections. The rivalry has sparked fears that the oil-rich country could slide back to fighting after tentative steps toward unity last year. Despite failing to agree on a framework for elections, the 2 Libyan leaders reached unprecedented consensus on issues such as the headquarters and distribution of seats for the 2 legislative chambers, the distribution of powers among different executive authorities, and the delineation of provinces and other matters. Ethiopia Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has denounced the allegation by Sudan that the Ethiopian Defense Force executed 7 Sudanese soldiers. Belin Seyun said during a press conference, Addis Ababa on Tuesday denied its soldiers were in the area at the time of the skirmish. Sudan accused Ethiopia of capturing soldiers on June the 22nd in Al-Fashaka, a fertile strip at the center of a bitter border dispute between the 2 neighbors. Khartoum recalled its ambassador to Addis Ababa on Monday and vowed to lodge a complaint with the UN Security Council and regional organizations. Addis Ababa said Tuesday that Sudanese forces had crossed into Ethiopian authority and territories, and the casualties resulted from a skirmish with the local militia, denying its soldiers were in the area at the time. The rift over Al-Fashaka feeds into wider tensions over land and water between the neighbors, particularly stoked by Ethiopia's mega dam on the Blue Nile. Now to foreign scene. The United States must meet its international obligations on climate change and do more than shout slogans, China's foreign ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian said on Friday, following a U.S. Supreme Court ruling limiting Washington's ability to cut power sector emissions. Now, the Supreme Court voted to constrain the authority of the U.S.'s Environmental Protection Agency to regulate greenhouse gas emissions from existing coal and gas-fired power plants under the Clean Air Act, sparking dismay among environmentalists. Zhao told reporters at a regular briefing that the ruling had been criticized by the international community, adding that it is not enough to just shout slogans to tackle climate change. Environmentalists in China said the decision could further undermine the broader climate relationship between Beijing and Washington, which has played a crucial role in securing global agreements to curb climate warming greenhouse gas. There is no reason to change Hong Kong's one country, two systems formula of governance, Chinese President Xi Jinping said on a rare visit to the global financial hub after swearing in the city's new leader, John Lee, on Friday. Britain returned to Hong Kong to Chinese rule on July the 1st, 1997, with Beijing promising wide-ranging autonomy, unfettered individual rights and judicial independence at least until 2047. China's critics accuse authorities of trampling on those freedoms unavailable on the authoritarian mainland, with a sweeping national security law imposed by Beijing on the city in 2020 after mass pro-democracy protests the year before. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Thursday that China had failed to meet its handover commitments. China and Hong Kong reject the accusations, saying the law restored order from chaos so that the city could prosper. Xi Jinping said the one country, two systems formula was successful under China's comprehensive jurisdiction. Now, Russia rained missiles near Ukraine's Black Sea port of Odessa on Friday, hitting an apartment building and a resort and killing at least 19 people, Ukrainian officials said, hours after Russian troops were driving off the nearby Snake Island. Ukrainian officials said at least 16 people had been killed at the apartment block in the village of Sehivka, and another 3, including 1 child, in strikes that hit nearby holiday resorts. The Kremlin denied targeting civilians. I would like to remind you of the president's words that the Russian armed forces do not work with civilian targets, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters. Thousands of civilians have been killed since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th in what Ukraine says is an unprovoked war of aggression. In his highly video address, President Volodymyr Zelensky held what he described as a strategic victory. We'll bring you more news updates after this break. Stay with us.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for wash and quick delivery, yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's true unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
The cosmetics and personal care industry globally generates an estimated annual turnover of around $400 billion over the last 20 years. In Nigeria, the beauty and personal care market could reach 3.2 billion euros by 2021, making Nigeria the rising star in sub-Saharan Africa. Products for hair and body care are predominant on the beauty market in sub-Saharan Africa, where face products and makeup remain marginal but have strong potential. Africa's largest economy clearly has a lot to offer. The Nigerian beauty and personal care market is currently worth more than $1.25 billion at retail and is forecast to reach more than $1.31 billion next year, according to Euromonitor International. It includes a wide range of products from skincare items to makeup and beauty items. These are items that predominantly appeal to women and men alike to purchase beauty products, even though men are interested in cosmetics. Nigeria has emerged as the investment destinations of choice to international firms aiming to capture the beauty and personal care market in the continent. The photography business is a very competitive industry. Every year, thousands of talented photo lovers consider turning their passion into a money-making business venture. Especially in a fiercely competitive marketplace like Nigeria, in which it is very easy for anyone to buy a digital camera and call themselves a professional photographer. According to some practitioners, a new photographer who wants a standard studio can start with a budget of 3.5 million naira. However, one can start with a lower budget of about 500,000 to 1 million naira, depending on the tools and cost of rent. On the average, the cost of photography equipment is around 294,790 naira. However, the price ranges from around 41,000 naira to as high as 2.46 million naira. Nigeria has a population of over 200 million people with a vibrant movie industry that produces 50 movies per week, generating annual revenue of approximately $590 million from between 2016 and 2021, helping the photography industry as a whole, according to a recent research by the UN.
You go enter market, just make you go buy fresh palm fruits. When you reach house, you go wash, you go pound, your body go dey pain you, even your fingernails go dey pain you. But make una no worry, make una relax. I get good news for una. Una don hear of Banga fresh palm fruit extract. All you need to do na make you go for the up, open am, take the amount wey you want, put am for your pot. Which soup you wan make? Shey na egusi, shey na ogbono, shey na vegetable, shey na banga. My sister no waste time again, my brother no waste time again. Just go buy Banga fresh palm fruit extract. They go know say you sabi cook and you be better cook.
Banga, come make your food yummy yum.
Most people don't understand the magic of the perfect skin. the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
And now let's take a look at sports now. Paris Saint-Germain has secured a multi-year shirt sponsorship deal with Qatar Airways worth as much as $72.1 million per year. Qatar Airways will take over from the French hospitality company Accor PSG's shirt sponsor since the 2019 to 2020 season. Accor reportedly paid between $62.7 million and $72 million annually. Qatar Airways has been PSG's premium partner since 2020, and the airline has paid between $5.2 million and $10.4 million per year. Its upgraded deal covers the men's, women's, and youth teams. PSG and Qatar Airways will also collaborate on fan experiences and content. PSG, the seventh most valuable football team in the world at $3.2 billion, has generated $661 million in revenue in 2022, up from $599 million in 2021. However, PSG has an operating income of $102 million compared to $5 million last year. And our French pay TV service Canal Plus has won the exclusive right to UEFA's club competitions for 3 years from 2024 in a deal worth €480 million a season to UEFA. The Vivendi-owned network currently shares the rights to the UEFA Champions League with rival beIN Sport, although beIN shows the lion's share of 138 live games each year. Canal Plus has first choice rights to 34 matches in addition to 16 UEFA Europa League and UEFA Europa Conference League games. The deal comes in 2024, which is the first season of a new Swiss-style structure for the UEFA Champions League, which will see participating teams play more matches in an enlarged group stage. And now Amazon has secured a UK broadcast rights to the UEFA Champions League and a deal worth £1.5 billion. The arrangement will see the internet giant split coverage with UEFA's existing broadcast partner, BT Sport, in a new part covering European football's club competitions for the 2024 to 2027 rights cycle. For its new deals, which also include the Europa League and Europa Conference League, UEFA has opted to abandon exclusivity for right from 2024 to 2025 due to the increased number of matches in the Champions League when the tournament group stage rises from 32 to 36 teams. Amazon will have the first pick-off matches on a Tuesday night through to the semi-finals, with BT retaining the rest of the rights to the Champions League, Europa League and Europa Conference League. UK public service broadcaster the BBC will also air highlights of the European football's top club competition for the first time, with a Wednesday night match of the day to round up the Champions League action. And now let's take a look at some of the over now to some of the equities market report for today. Equities trading on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange Limited recorded a gain of 5.6 trillion during the half year ended June 30, 2022, as investors continue to increase their buying pressure, especially on blue chip stocks. Available statistics show that activities on the Nigerian Exchange Limited, which opened the trading year at 22.2 trillion naira in market capitalization and 42,716.14 in index at the beginning of trading on January 4, 2022, closed the half year on 30th June 2022 at 22.935 trillion and 51.81.58 index point. This has earned a year-to-date gain of about 5.639 trillion on a 21.31% increase in inter-index point year-to-date. Well, and that's it with stock market report, and of course with the news now and business now at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Franco Malape. Bye-bye for now.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited.